All right, Shalom. We are the Hebrew Israelites from the Indianapolis branch of the Great Millstone. We're here to give all praises, glory, and honor to
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Ba'ashem,
Yahweh
Yahweh
Shai,
Shai, Ba'ashem,
Ba'ashem,
Rachakudash.
Double honors to our apostles and elders of the Great Millstone who rule well in teaching us this 100% truth. Salutations to them and our fellow Akim who labor in this truth week in and week out on the highways and byways. Also, salutations to the hopeful elect of the scattered 12 tribes of Israel, scattered to the four corners of the earth, that be like it to the speckled bird, also known as your Israelite foreigners and your so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. To you, we say Shalom.
Shalom.
All right, just coming back, we got this article here from Black Enterprise, what you see on the screen. The article is titled Elon Musk co-signs Ben Shapiro's ridiculous call to pardon George Floyd's killer, who was that Minnesota officer, Derek Chauvin. All right. And under the subtitle, it says, even if President Donald Trump were to heed Shapiro's plea, any federal pardon for Derek Chauvin wouldn't touch the state charges that ensure he remains behind bars. All right. And here, like you see on the screen, you got Shapiro, Musk, and Chauvin. All apparently Edomites. What's interesting here, that Musk guy threw up that Schitzler sign, that none of the imposters in 1948 said anything about. You couldn't find anything on it. But what's interesting here, this, goes back to that perpetual hatred, that they have for us, going all the way back to Egypt. It was Amalek, which Shapiro was the first to attack us, as we were exiting Egypt, coming from behind, killing our feeble and our old, the women and children. And then as we're trying to get to the promised land, you got the likes of Elon Musk and Derek Chauvin, that that was really pretty much coming up against Jake, about to go to war with Jake, because all Jake did was asked to do was pass by that line, and they didn't want him to. So when they got near, they came out ready to fight. So we've always had a problem with this nation of people, and it's really starting to show its head right now. All right, this is beginning with the article. It says Elon Musk, the self-proclaimed free speech abolitionist and owner of X, formerly called Twitter, has once again waded into controversy by amplifying a plea from conservative commentator Ben Shapiro for President Donald Trump to pardon Derek Chauvin, the disgraced former Minneapolis police officer convicted of murdering George Floyd. And as we know, that was during the pandemic back in 2020, where this Chauvin guy kneeled on the neck of George Floyd, over 9 minutes. And the guy was saying he couldn't breathe, and everybody pretty much watched him die right on camera. So they saying, release him, these guys are calling for. You want to grab Psalm 73 and 5? Go ahead.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 73, and verse 5. It says, they are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men.
Now, although he is serving his time for this, this goes heavily into that scripture. He's one of the first of many. You can probably count on one hand throughout history how many white police officers, so-called white police officers, have gone to jail for unaliving Jake. Okay, but here they are trying to get him off. Okay, and the whole world saw that. But this is also seen as a plea to get Jake out there. If you notice, there's a bunch of protests going on right now about the stuff with the immigrants, but you're not seeing it on TV. Okay, where's Antifa? They're not out there. Okay, where are all these pallets of bricks? They're not out there. Where's all these militarized police officers with riot gear on? No tanks. None of that stuff is out there. But they're waiting for Jake to come out there. And, Jake has gotten smart to that, too, saying, no, they gaslighting us. They trying to get us out there so they can take us out. We know civil war's going to come, and we don't get into that. However, um, you got to notice a lot of things that is going on and why they can't do this. First of all, you had the Supreme Court give Trump full immunity. Okay, he can pretty much run roughshod for the most part. He gave qualified immunity to the police, and now he just ran something where it's the automatic death penalty if anyone knocks off the police. All right.
Yep.
Yeah, so he's doing that, and then you gotta keep it smart. He's looking for a pathway to give the so-called white South Africans a pathway to citizenship to this place. Go right ahead. This one get destroyed right along with you.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
we'll go back to what you were saying. Actually, if we could grab that the Proverbs, these 6 things. Let's go back into that real quick.
Proverbs 16. Go ahead.
Yeah.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 6, and beginning of verse 16. It says, "These 6 things doth the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai hate, yea, 7 are an abomination unto him."
So these are completely wicked acts, filthy acts to Yahweh Shemel Shai, and these are all attributed or attributes of Esau Edom. All right, and at any point when he's involved, one if not all, pretty much are going to be to the forefront. It's going to be the majority, if not all. Well, go ahead.
It says, "A proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood."
Right. So, like you were saying, they put these things out there to see what people are going to bite. Right. They may throw out a lie. Throw things out intentionally. Then see people's reaction, and then come back later and like, oh, that we didn't mean that, or that wasn't the case. They have the media, which is a medium, that they use, and they can flood the market, so to speak, for like all the like people that's watching TVs. Everybody has phones in their hands, so they can push a story, to the masses of people, to believe. And that's how a lot of people do believe it, because people see it and they talk about it, and then you say a lie long enough, often enough, people will believe it to be the truth. Go ahead.
It says, "An heart that deviseth wicked imaginations."
And that's what they do continuously. Go ahead.
It says, "Feet that be swift in running to mischief."
They're waiting for Jake to come out, these so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to step out, putting up posts such as this, and speaking on it, so that to rouse Jake up. Okay, go ahead.
It says, "A false witness," so like it says, "Feet that be swift in running to mischief, a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren."
And that's the part that I wanted to get to, because this is what this is completely is doing. It's sowing discord, because prior to some weeks back, maybe 3 weeks to a month, it was actually we're in March, so yeah, so like sometime in January, maybe early February, you had police escort, like
In Ohio,
in Ohio, the Nazi or this, and then you had this black so-called ran up on there, and Hispanics, and there was like this fighting, and so and then of course when they speak on it, it's like that this is going to provoke something, and they're like, well, they have the right to protest, and they go behind their laws and things like that. But so then something like this, Floyd's unaliver, being pardoned, that will actually cause, because you had, like I said,
Precept.
about a whole year and some time where people were really protesting. Actually, that's where the whole BLM came into play. And there was one thing about that BLM, to show you who was behind it. Like I said, you follow the money. That was the first time ever you thinking that it's so-called black folks that's running BLM, but that's the first time that I've seen it. It was on Netflix.
Yep.
You had basketball players wearing the shirts. You had it was on Amazon. Amazon Prime. You pull up, so it's like BLM. And so who was involved. It's these elite, the Amalekites.
Yep, which the head of that organization was an Edomite by the name of George Soros.
Yep.
So hey, and who was the face of it? 3 lesbian black women, man.
And on top of that, their mantra was not about, you know, the preservation of so-called black lives. It was a dismantling of the home. Get the
Mm-hmm.
man out of the home. Get rid of the patriarch. Okay, which is what has been their goal the whole time. This is just a more sophisticated version of the welfare system, as it attributed to Jake. You
Yeah.
know, because the welfare system allowed for Esau, Edom to come home from the war, and they still collect the benefits. However, Jake couldn't be in the house, and they showed you that in that 1974 movie, Claudine.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And for those who come across the video and listen, look up. Um, uh, I believe it's in the house rule.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you look up in the house rule, and it'll explain to you and it tell you directly that uh, it was pushed predominantly on the so-called African American community.
What I'll do, I'll look that up and put that in the link of this video, description box of this video. All right.
Awesome.
Precept Con.
Yeah, just to back up the points y'all was making. This is Psalms 10 and 8. It says, "He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages, in the secret places doth he murder the innocent. His eyes are privily set against the poor." You know, who's the poor man? Is dealing with Jake, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. So, ultimately, like, you know, as they were going into, you know, Esau is setting up these things to lure Jake out. So ultimately, they can move on Jake, man.
Yep.
In verse 9, it says, "He lieth and waits secretly as a lion in his den. He lieth and waits to catch the poor. He doth catch the poor when he draweth him into his net." You know, hey, Esau setting up those traps for Jake. You know, hoping Jake falls into it, and guess what, man? They could Esau could pounce on his prey as a lion would.
Yep.
Which the prey in this sense is who? You Jakes, man.
Yep.
In verse that's it. That's the point.
No, I'm saying even if Jake, you know, stands down like they say they are, you know, you got the other thing. You know, you talked about your media, that whole thing with that AI, with that cloud that had like all those little firelights in it. Everybody believed it and went viral. They can do that type of stuff too with this AI. I mean, it's gotten real sophisticated. They're gonna have Jakes in a lot of places that they never were, and saying things that they never said. All right, in order to institute, you know, whatever agenda. The first one being martial law that they want to do. All right. All right. Back to the article. It says Shapiro in a podcast clip, much retweeted March 4th, argued that prosecutors and law enforcement were railroading Chauvin and framed the officer's conviction as the defining achievement of the woke movement. And see, that's the thing. If you ask a lot of Edomites, they can't even tell you what woke is. But the thing is, if you're not awake, what are you asleep? You know, they don't want you to know what's going on. All right, and this is another word, just like this word woke and this word, this acronym DEI is another word. You know, just talking about niggas. You know, so-called black people. That's what they're attributing it to. But that's the thing. They don't want this guy to be held accountable for a murder that he committed in front of the whole world. All right. It goes on. It says the inciting event for the BLM riots caused $2 billion in property damage in the United States and set America's race relations on their worst footing in my lifetime was, in fact, the railroading of Derek Chauvin and the death of George Floyd, Shapiro claimed in the video. And, you know, personally, I hate this dude. He's a little weasel, you know, frail, fast-talking weasel, you know, this Ben Shapiro. All right, one of the worst Amalekites there is out there. All right, says Musk's response, a casual something to think about, as if the murder of a black man under Chauvin's knee for 9 minutes and 29 seconds, a killing that ignited a global racial injustice movement, was merely fodder for debate. Man. And then you got in this article, you got a bunch of videos between Musk and Shapiro. All right, you can look at that from the link of the article. It says Chauvin, who was concurrently serving a 21-year federal and 22.5-year state sentences for violating Floyd's civil rights and committing murder and manslaughter, became a global symbol of police brutality after Floyd's killing 2020. The video of the convicted killer kneeling on Floyd's neck as Floyd begged for his life is seared into public memory. Shapiro's revisionist framing and Musk's tacit endorsement seems designed to erase this reality. And like we were saying, not only to erase the reality, but to ignite Jake into protesting. All right, we were just saying the same stuff. We got all these protests for the immigrants going on right now. No pallets of bricks, no militarized police, no Antifa. None of that stuff is out there. Okay, no police in riot gear. So for the most part, Jake knows this is a setup. But we know through prophecy, this thing has to come to pass no matter what Jake does, and that's a civil war. All that's going to happen. Sedition among men. All that has to happen according to the scriptures. All right. You got something?
Yeah, I'll get something for you real quick. This is Luke chapter 21 and verse 9. It says, but when ye shall, and this is Yahweh Shai speaking as in the red letter, it says, but when ye shall hear wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. So ultimately, for the end of this kingdom to come to pass, there is certain tokens and signs that must manifest themselves in the planet Earth before the end of Esau's wicked kingdom takes place.
Yep.
Now, going into the word commotions, it's the Greek word, which I always have a hard time saying this, akastasia. It says instability, a state of disorder, disturbance, confusion. And we seen that back when ultimately this event first took place with the killing of George Floyd. There was a lot of riots, uproars of the people, instability, a state of disorder. All right, and hey, man, we understand that these things are going to come back, man. We saw a glimpse of it back then, but hey, as we get closer and closer to the return of our Lord Yahweh Shai, these things are going to increase, man, and heighten in the planet Earth.
You mentioned the return of Yahweh Shai. While those things were going on, hey, Shapiro, you got to answer the question. While that was going on, it says 130 Ukrainian Jews returned to the promised land, which was Israel, to fulfill the prophecies of Isaiah and Jeremiah. That article came out in June of 2020. Okay, so which is it? The Balfour Declaration or 2020 that the Jews return home? It's neither. Okay, because the Israelites are supposed to return home, all 12 tribes. Okay, while you trying to push this crap. All right. So yeah, you got to answer that question first. All right, this is all going on while those riots were going on. All right.
Yeah.
So,
book of Isaiah chapter 33 verse 6, it says that wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. Just to back up brother, because he's like, we're in a time where it's going to just be all hell. All right, and every household is going to be affected in some fashion, some frame, and the only thing that's going to keep us stable in these times is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Because again, when videos are posted and lies are being told, it's going to cause people to react, and people are going to be making moves, and in their reaction, like it says, it says, make not haste in the time of trouble. When you make a swift reaction to something, it calls for mistakes to happen. So sometimes, like you said, you gotta wait on Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. People are losing their jobs. People are losing homes. People are in distress. That Proverbs 29 and 2. So when the wicked are in authority, the people, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. So having that in the forefront of our mind, that who's actually ruling, and the reason why things are getting worse and worse, because evil men and seducers are waxing worse and worse. So we're in a perilous times in which things are going to get chaotic. And you have to accept, that's the comfort that Yahweh Shai has given us through the truth. That we have to accept those things to be, so that if not, you're gonna be going crazy trying to keep things up. When the Lord said that things are going to crumble, this place is going to fall, and you're trying to hold everything up. You're gonna go crazy doing so. So just pretty much stick to what the Lord's plan is, right? Wait on Him, watch the things happen, and don't make a quick. Don't be so quick to react to everything that actually is going on in the earth. Go ahead, you have something?
Yeah, a quick one just to back you up. This is in the book of Psalms, chapter 12, verse 8. It says, "The wicked walk on every side when the vilest men are exalted." All right. So you got a 34 count for a felon running the country now. He is a convicted felon, and then you have his top donor, whose riches were gained from the whole apartheid thing in South Africa. What's that? How he got stuff because of unrighteous
dealings,
riches gotten by deceit. Yeah,
Sirach,
Sirach 10 and 8. Yeah, go ahead and grab it.
Okay.
Go ahead and grab
While
it.
you're getting that, and the thing is, our people are so reactive
Yeah.
and not proactive. Like with the whole DEI thing, it provoked people. We're not gonna go to these stores anymore. It's like
Right.
you have to go to them for the one of all things.
Right.
So pretty much you hurting yourself regardless. Because again, the Lord is gonna square everything out.
Yep.
They go into that one. Oh, we're gonna go one day where we're not gonna buy in the stores for a whole day. It's like, okay, then what about the next day?
Yeah.
Right. They have rule. They can sit back and they're the serpent, right? What's a characteristic of a serpent? They're very patient, and they can sit and they can wait.
Yep.
They'll wait, right? What happens and I'm just throwing this out here, like when you have a very good, I know Elder Malcolm, he brings it up a lot, had a very good court case, and they pretty much for years just kept pushing it out, pushing it out.
Yeah.
Right, and then what happens eventually to people that has a very good case, that person end up dying, get sick, or not having enough money to fight, so they either settle for something quick, or they pretty much give up.
Got it. That's what happened. To your point, that's what happened to the 3 last survivors of Black Wall Street or the Tulsa massacre. They waited them out. One of them died, and while that was going on, Congress put a bill in place that if any state, not to get off tangent, any state that brings forth legislation for reparations for the descendants of slaves, you won't get any federal help when natural disasters come, which we know they cause anyway. But that's the thing. If you have legislation on the table, I think it's House Bill number 4321. You put that on. If they put any legislation on the table, you won't get any federal aid for disasters like Katrina, or that situation that happened in North Carolina, California. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is Sirach or Ecclesiasticus chapter 10, verse 8. It says, because unrighteous dealings, injuries, it says, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another.
Con, and Elon Musk is just one of those. You still got those elite banking families, okay? His wealth and their wealth are all going to be translated, back to the kingdom of true Israel, the 12 tribes, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and those that are scattered abroad that are of the seed line of Jacob, okay? You're going to get it all back, all right? And you're going to, like the scriptures say, you're going to vomit it up. But that's just the arrogancy of this man. But you read Isaiah 33 and 6. The other part of that, keeps us being not being ignorant of Satan's devices.
Right.
Because of what they're trying. We see exactly what they're trying to do. The average Jake, and eventually they may get one out there. Like I said, with that AI, they can. That media is something else, man. They put people out there doing stuff they never did, said something they never said. All right, but something's going to happen. Like, this is all in the Lord's hands. If He says there's going to be discord among brother, kingdom against kingdom, nation against nation, brother against brother. It's going to happen, no matter how much you try to say stand down. He said, like he said, vengeance is mine. Wait upon me. All right, and Jake needs to do that. The elect will do that, but somebody's going to go out there and do something because this prophecy has to come to pass. All right, back to the article. It says, Musk's response, a casual something to think about, as if the murder of a black man under Chauvin's knee for 9 minutes and 29 seconds, a killing that ignited global racial justice movement, was merely fodder for debate. All right, and it goes on. Chauvin, who was, I think I read this. Chauvin, who is currently serving a 21-year federal and 22.5-year state federal sentences for violating Floyd's civil rights and committing murder and manslaughter, became a global symbol of police brutality after Floyd's killing in 2020. The video of the convicted killer kneeling on Floyd's neck as Floyd begged for his life is seared in public memory. Shapiro's visionary framing and Musk's tacit endorsement seems designed to erase this reality. And here again, we just told you that Trump is eliminating. First of all, he eliminated that database of all the corrupt police officers. Okay, he shut that down, and then he's giving them qualified immunity. For what other reason? That's for that great wrath upon Jake. We know who they killed. On a torrential basis. It's Jake.
Pretty sad.
Go ahead.
Oh shoot. Had it at one moment. This is Zechariah chapter 11 verses 5. It says 4. It says, "Thus said the Lord, my power, feed the flock of the slaughter, whose oppressors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, Blessed be the Lord, for I am rich. And their own shepherds pity them not." So just the main point is, we've been scattered into, the hands of our enemy, and we've been, they've been slaughtering us ever since, we've gotten here.
Mm-hmm.
We've been beaten, oppressed, and of course, and that's what we're doing. We're feeding you with the knowledge, arming you with the understanding, starting with our head apostles and elders, of how you should move in these days. Not reacting to everything that's being seen, looking at everything from a spiritual lens, and the only way to do so is by listening to the true men that the Lord has sent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because again, you have other shepherds, and I'm going to start with the shepherd, the false teachers of Israel, and then you have these Christianity churches. They're not telling you of the prophecies that are soon to come and how to prepare you for them, right? Like the elder, you mentioned it, it came to mind. It says, dumb dogs, right?
Mm-hmm.
That don't bark,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're not setting the alarm.
Gone. All right. This is back to the article. It says, for Musk, this latest episode is emblematic of his increasingly reckless stewardship of X. Under his ownership, the platform has become a haven for reactionary voices and disinformation campaigns, with Musk himself also often fanning the flames. So yeah, and that's just what the brother was saying earlier. This whole thing is to get a reaction out of Jake.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And he's fanning the flames. That's that lying tongue that sows discord among the brethren. All right? So he's showing he's a true Edomite, just like he's the brother said earlier. Those 7 things. At any given time, he's going to display all 6 at one time. At any given time, at least 6 of them. That's why the Lord said, "These 6 things I hate." And we know Esau is the object of his hate. What's that? Romans 9 and 13. But Jacob I have loved, Esau I have hated. You know, that's a quoting from Malachi chapter 1, verse 2 and 3. All right. It says, amplifying Shapiro's plea for Chauvin's pardon is not just an endorsement of bad faith arguments, but a troubling display of Musk's willingness to undermine public trust in the justice system for clout and clicks. All right. This is about his own aggrandizement, you know, his own personal gain. All right. At the expense of Jake. Because that's what it boils down to. You know, we are the target. You know, the Israelites. That woman, that Amalekite woman also said that. I keep going back to that. Judith Varney Shore on U.S. soil said the number one problem for the state of Israel is the so-called black youth of America. All right, that's what she said. We all the way over here with no military, no defense, and we know Jake is not unified. Hence, we have the 2/3 versus the 1/3. They never will be. Okay, so yeah, Jake is the number one target, and we're seeing that. What's that in Jeremiah 31? I want to say verses 31 through 34.
Where the laws in our inward parts?
No, that's 35. This is the one I'm talking about. Where
Jeremiah 31:31. That's what that is.
He wanted to take away the sun, moon, and the stars.
Yeah, it's starting at verse 35.
35. Okay.
This is Jeremiah chapter 31, beginning of verse 35. It says, "Thus saith the Lord Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinances of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, which divideth the sea when the waves thereof roar. The Lord Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai of hosts is his name. If those ordinances depart from before me, saith the Lord Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever."
Kind of, he knows. You go all the way back to Genesis 1. Those things were given to Jake, you know, beginning with Adam. All right, for us to know the signs of the seasons, you know, and he's trying to take those away. You know, he's trying to block out the sun. That's obvious. You know, we know he never went to the moon. Okay, but he said he did, and if he did, we wouldn't be here based on that scripture. If you can take that ordinance away from me, I will cast off the seed of Israel for all they've done. But that's just how much of importance this that birthright was to him. Okay, he's going to make an effort to take out the sun and the moon. All right.
Yeah, read one more.
Verse 37 says, "Thus saith the Lord Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, if heaven above can be measured and the foundations of the earth searched out beneath, I will also cast off all the seed of Israel for all that they have done, saith the Lord Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai."
And just to throw this out there, because you know, brothers coming up, you know, and you hear brothers talk about it, like when we watch National Geographic, you watch Animal Planet, you watch the things that are dealing with the ocean and then the stars, and then of course if you've gone to college and things like that, they would tell you, oh, Earth is such and such million miles away. Mm-hmm. The sky is you know the
sun is 186 billion miles away.
Yeah. Or they'll tell you the space is a certain trillion years span alone. And then they'll tell you, you know, like the depths of the ocean, which one was fascinating, you know, that trench. It's like starts with an M. I can't think of it right now, but it's a trench that's so deep that they were like, you could actually, you know, you could put like mountains, and you know, it's so deep where like it will swallow mountains and tops of mountains and things like that. But I say all that to say they put that information out there. You thought it was to be helpful, but they were going against, their spirit was going against the Lord. Yeah. Because the Lord said in that verse that the heavens cannot be measured, right? They actually started to find that it's actually growing. They're starting to see more planets and more galaxies and things that are actually out there, because Yahushua said, "I go to prepare a place for you," right? And then they know that only. And I like Kaya. He always, you know, he brings it up sometimes. We mention it. He says, you have to know the whole to know the percent.
Right.
You know, they said only 5% or 10% of the ocean has been actually
Right.
excavated. You know, I said, but you gotta have to know the whole
Right.
in order to know that you got
Right.
that
Right.
that percentage.
You have to know the whole thing. All right, and then too, if they, like I said, that they went to the moon. All right, this information is out there. NASA tried already. In 1969 wasn't the first time. Okay, you have NASA project A119 that was done 10 years prior, 1959, where they tried to shoot a nuke to the moon. That's that other ordinance they tried to take out, blow up the moon. That's just how important that birthright is to these people. It didn't happen. And now, then they tried in 1969, say they landed. Where's the guy that took the picture of them landing and leaving? Nobody knows that answer. It didn't happen. And then you have, as of recent, last year, Musk tried to go through the firmament, whose technology supposed to be far more advanced than it was in 1969. His rocket got up there, curved, and exploded. So you never went past the firmament. And the guy's Buzz Aldrin, he's the one been admitting that, saying we never went to the moon. It was all witchcraft. It was all their, propaganda, whatever they wanted to call it or wanted to do. But if these things had to happen based on these passages of scriptures, we would not be here. We would not be here.
Sure.
So
And which then goes to the extreme, right? When they're back against the wall, they're in the corner. Like I said, they're going to come down upon you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians like a flood, right? But however, because he, like what said the scripture saying, you know it that he has but a short time.
Mm-hmm.
I always want to say that flood because I always think of the one in Isaiah when he says, when the enemy shall come like a flood, then the Lord shall lift up a standard.
Yep.
Right? So now, when all these other things aren't working, what other thing to do? Well, you take out the seed.
Yep.
Right? And you've seen parts of that also happening when you look up Planned Parenthood.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Planned Parenthood, but then there's that play on words because all of them do is extract and delete.
Yep.
And so that's been a thing all throughout the neighborhoods. Then you have the different foods. You have liquor stores on every corner. That
Harlot houses, churches,
and right. So all these things were purposely planned against the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, and yet Ezekiel, the Spirit of the Lord has came upon men with all of these things that they have done. Going back to your point of the lady, with all these things going, the Spirit entered. Could you get that real quick? And then stood. I always like to say the exceeding great army, but I like the one where he says, "If fear fell upon them."
Yeah. Revelation chapter 11.
That's the one I always put them two together.
Verse 11. It says, "And after 3 days and a half, the Spirit of life from the Most High entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them."
So that hundreds of years of slavery, we get to this point, and now then you get to the point where Abba Bivens, gets this understanding, and he starts to teach this truth. At first we were in this dead state for so many years without the truth. They were teaching us our own Bible, in the way that they believe it to be, right? And then after this time period, we start to actually a great awakening happening. If you want to add to or
yeah, because that 3 days and a half goes into the 350-year period, which starts at 1619, which that's when the transatlantic slave trade took place, and all the way to 1969, which ultimately that's where the truth came out. The Lord had the truth come out via Elder Abba Bivens, Slakia. So now, fast forward to today, about what, almost 60 years later, man. All right, the Lord has risen up. All right, men. All right, the Lord is raising up 144,000 men. All right, which are the future prophets. Okay, excuse me, they are prophets, but they're the future judges and rulers of the next world to come. And guess what? Ultimately, we're prophesying against this place, man.
Yep.
Our Lord will be at that number.
Yeah. And have to also mention some alive, some are
Yep.
no longer living on that 144.
Just
Because I know there's a thing, one of the elders, I think Elder Yashawamba, went into, was just explaining, like, because people were trying to count the number, and it's like, the way the Lord has have his men hid, and just like he told Paul, he was like in the time of Obadiah, it was like Obadiah had like 150 men that were tucked off prophets that he was feeding, and he told Paul, he's like, there's 700, there's 700, which is 7,000, which is a complete number of men that have not bowed the knees, to Baal.
Yep, that's I think the Heavenly Father told that to Elisha, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yeah, Paul was reiterating it in Romans the 11th chapter.
Okay.
Pretty much, as the brothers are going into, that's symbolic for those elect chosen men today.
Because they're not bring up Obadiah, because it was around the time like Obadiah was talking to Elisha, or is it Elijah? It was, I'm seeing I'm Salaki on that one, because who was it? If you pull it up real quick, since I brought it up.
Yeah, it was.
He came to him and he was like, "You want me?" He's like, "You want me to go and tell them that I seen you?"
It was Elijah.
It was Elijah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Salaki. It was Elijah.
Yeah. So he's like, "You want me to go tell them that I seen you? Do you know that they know that I was hiding out men and feeding them?" He's like, "They gonna kill me because they gonna believe that I've always knew where you were." In other words, that story. But it's just the spirit of the Lord, how he works those things, and but the main point is that he has men risen up in those days. Was there more to that?
No, I was gonna say, like I said, great fear fell upon them with Sodom, because these nations, man, they understand that once the Lord Yahweh Bashmi Hashai calls us back into remembrance and we become one with our Lord again, ultimately there's nothing that these heathens can do to prevail against us. All of their schemes, all their devices, all their plottings and things of that nature is to no avail, man. Okay, because the Lord Yahweh Bashmi Hashai is fighting for us. And if the Most High Yahweh Bashmi Hashai be for us, man, then who could be against us? Absolutely nobody.
I got something for you just to back you up when we come back to our Lord. This is the book of Judith, chapter 5. It's in the Apocrypha. It says, "Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error against this people," talking about the Israelites, "and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them." Verse 21. "But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them, and their power be for them, and we become a reproach before all the world." And that's just what's about to happen to Esau Edom. He came out earlier. His shame is covering him. Okay? You brought out Lamentations. All of this stuff is about to happen. If he's being uncovered, being exposed, and he will be a reproach before all the world until he's out of the world. All right? I had two more. Anybody have anything else?
No, go ahead. We'll finish.
I had two more paragraphs, real quick, just to finish up that article.
Oh, okay. And then probably after you finish up the article, maybe a scripture to
Okay.
close.
It says, Shapiro's remarks, which dismissed the racial reckoning sparked by Floyd's murder and cast the subsequent protests as nothing more than destructive riots, are equally galling. His characterizations of Chauvin as a victim rather than a perpetrator of state-sanctioned violence is a chilling reminder of how far some are willing to go to rewrite history in the name of political expediency. Even if President Donald Trump were to heed Shapiro's plea, any federal pardon for Chauvin wouldn't touch the state charges that ensure he remains behind bars. But that reality doesn't seem to matter to Musk or his reactionary fan base on X, who are more interested in stoking outrage and feeding conspiratorial narratives that than engaging with facts. And here again, like you said, this is for reactionary purposes. Okay, it said that before you have to take care of something, but yeah, they're reiterating this point. It's for reactionary purposes to get Jake out there and get Jake caught up. Because here again, you know, Trump, they asked him of this. He said he heard nothing about it, but you put all the measures in place. Qualified immunity for the police, all right? Deleting that corrupt police officers database, and most recently, the death penalty automatic for anyone who kills a policeman. All right, so
What is that called? Plausible deniability?
yeah, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's their wordsmithing, man. That's versus the facts. This is what you're doing. You know, you give them an excuse to get out of it. That goes back to that Psalm 73 and 5. All right, not in trouble as other men.
Now I was gonna say real quick, you could see, you know, the boldness of these Edomites, man, because as soon as Elon Musk took over Twitter, you know, rebranded Twitter to X, you know, you see a lot of Edomites, you know, popping up, you know, making, you know, racist jokes about Jake, you know, making these slanderous posts, you know. So ultimately, the shit that Elon Musk does, it rouses up these Edomites, man, you know. And it's also wants to get a reaction out of Jake and to get Jake to do something, man. So ultimately, then guess what? Now they have a reason in their mind, right, to come down on Jake.
Yep.
Well, that part of you know, making America great again dealt with them, putting them back in power, giving them some form of power. Something that you've mentioned a lot. If you can state it, I'll bring your mind to it. Where he says, if you can get the poor white man.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
That was a Lyndon B. Johnson quote. He said, "If you can get the lowest white man or the poorest white man to think he's better than the best black man, you can pick his pockets clean." And that's exactly what they've done. Exactly what they've done. And on the flip side, you know, he had some balance with his stuff. He said, "I will have these niggas voting Democrat for the next 200 years." He's 60 years in, 60-0. You know, so yeah. Again, it was all a plan, man. All a plan. They know just how to, you know, play the people like a fiddle, man. Except the elect. You know.
Yep.
So yep. All right. So with that, we hope this lesson was edifying to the elect body of the nation of Israel. Once again, gonna give all praises, glory, and honor to
Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rechakodash.
Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teaching us this 100% truth. Salutations to them and our fellow Akim who labor in this truth week in and week out on the highways and byways. Also salutations to the hopeful elect of the scattered 12 tribes of Israel, scattered to the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, also known as your Israelite foreigners and your so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. To you, we say Shalom.
Shalom.
Kwam Yasharala.
Kwam Yasharala.
Abba Abba.
Abba Abba.
Shalom.